Well, I have 10 o'clock, and I want to welcome all of you here today. This is such a spectacular place, spectacular day, and we couldn't be more pleased than try to pull this off. As you know, this has been really a challenging time to even get today's event scheduled and to occur. But welcome everybody. I'm Dr. Randy Klender. I'm the president of the Board of Trustees for the Georgia School of Orthodontics, and we're very pleased to have you all here. And we're pleased to have those who are streaming us live participate with this ceremony also today. Today is the graduation of the class of 2021, our new orthodontists. Congratulations, you guys. I want to take a moment in time, just for a second, to go back to the spring of 2015. Just 6.5 years ago, we had a blank application for the American Association or the Commission on Dental Accreditation. We had no location for a school in Atlanta. We had no faculty hired. We had no Atlanta staff hired. We had no residents and no admissions process. We had no patients. We had no practice management software, computers, equipment, or IT department to help our clinic setting. Our mission and goal statements had not yet quite fully been developed, and the Board of Trustees had not been formed yet. For the June GSO newsletter, I had made a few comments that I wanted to share with you today, and I want you to kind of think about it because I've thought about it often. Have you ever given this thought? What would have happened if the Georgia School of Orthodontics never had been started? I can give you some details about that. The 6,200 patients that have been treated or are in treatment since inception would not have happened. The over $13.6 million of realized savings to the community would not have occurred, and many may not have gotten treatment at all. The 54 recipients in the Purple Heart Smile program and the Gift of a Smile Heroes program would never have occurred for this free, life-changing service. The GSO resident positions would not exist that provide the opportunity for qualified applicants to become orthodontists in the very competitive admissions process. The impact the program has had in increasing diversity in the profession would not be realized. All of the jobs and opportunities created for faculty and staff would not be there. Research and publications would not have occurred. Friendships with colleagues, classmates, and fellow staff would not have been formed. Our alumni would not be contributing to the profession. And of course, this ceremony wouldn't be happening today. Graduation is a time to reflect on the successes and efforts it has taken to get to the end of formal education for the graduates, and as we all know, it's really just the beginning. There's so much more to come for our future graduates and the Georgia School of Orthodontics. We will be enthusiastically welcoming new residents in 2 weeks, and as we emerge from this pandemic, I hope sooner than later, that we'll be stronger than we were before. We need to continue to recognize that the opportunities that we have been given and reflect on how each one of us can make us better. GSO is a team effort. It's a team effort at all levels, and our team is the foundation for the best orthodontic residency program around. We are extremely proud of these graduates today and for the role that they've played in the last 3 years. Congratulations to all of you and to your families for the significant achievement. Congratulations. It's a great deal of pleasure that I can introduce our keynote speaker today, Dr. N. Carl Hayden. Both Dr. Harrell and I have had the pleasure of working with Dr. Hayden in the past during our careers in dental education. Dr. Hayden is the president and CEO of the Academy for Academic Leadership. Since AAL's founding in 2005, Dr. Hayden and AAL have worked with more than 150 U.S. and international higher education institutions, associations, and businesses, including the American Dental Education Association. Dr. Hayden has authored or co-authored more than 18 articles and monographs. He's generously giving all of our graduates a copy of his book today, and please grab one on your way out, The 9 Virtues of Exceptional Leaders, Unlocking Your Leadership Potential. Dr. Hayden is an honorary fellow of the American College of Dentists and a fellow of the Center for the Study of Great Ideas. He is the recipient of numerous prestigious awards, including the Professionalism and Ethics Award from the American College of Dentists. He holds degrees in religious studies, humanities, and philosophy. Please welcome Dr. Hayden. Dr. Hayden.
Thank you, Dr. Klunder. Well, congratulations. You know, like, what a residency you have had, right? I mean, this is a real testimony to your resilience, your courage, and your perseverance. So please accept my heartfelt congratulations. I want you to imagine that I've got a clock up here, all right? An old type of clock, the wind-up kind, okay? I started to bring one, but it's good. It's not a good place to set it. So get one in your mind. Think about winding that up, because our lives are a little bit like that. Okay, we're born wound up, and then tick, tick, tick. There are a finite number of ticks. So several years ago, I had the privilege of retreating to the Arizona desert with a group of retired dental school deans and other retired leaders from the dental profession, the organized profession. And we spent the best part of a day discussing an essay by the Roman Stoic Seneca. And that essay is entitled On the Shortness of Life. Now, when you get to be my age, you start thinking about these things. You wonder how many more ticks are left in the clock. But let me read something. I wrote it down this morning because I want to make sure I get it right. In this essay, Seneca says, "It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Life is long enough, and a sufficiently generous amount has been given to each of us for the highest achievements if we but well invest it." So first of all, I congratulate you on your high achievement. And now I want to talk about well-invested time. Thinking about that clock, get it in your mind. I'm going to just sort of walk you around the face of that clock and talk about some habits that I think are really important for well-invested time as you go out into your careers as orthodontists. At 12 o'clock, high noon, that habit is challenge. Okay, I hope you'll continue to challenge yourselves. Now, I have a couple things in mind. Just briefly, challenging yourself. You know from what you've been through in this residency that you grow when you're working on the edge, when you're working at the boundary of your competencies. That's how you developed as an orthodontist. It's how you develop in leadership and in any other ways. And the literature's pretty plain. In 7-10 years, it varies from person to person, you're going to reach a plateau. You will not get any better as an orthodontist unless you challenge yourself to do things differently. But I really want to focus on another type of challenge. I want to focus on a challenge that I think is more ethical in nature. So in 2020, U.S. News, they report every year the best occupations. And out of 25 occupations, the best jobs, 18 of them were in the health professions. Orthodontist was number 4. Of the top paying jobs, top 10 out of 10 were all in healthcare. Several years ago, Bloomberg reported that if you want to exit the bottom 99% and be a 1%er, you need something around $515,000 a year. So orthodontics might just be your exit from the bottom 99%. But here's the trick. So I don't know if you ever read Adam Smith, the Scottish Enlightenment thinker. He's responsible for modern economics. He said that self-interest is the primary driver in a free market. And you've got other economists, more recently Milton Friedman, that says that the purpose of a corporation is to maximize profits. Now, there's nothing wrong with the business of dentistry or orthodontics, but there are times when those values of the free market and those values of self-interest conflict with the values of healthcare and the patient. So I want to encourage you to do two things in relation to challenge. First of all, I encourage you to be very circumspect in terms of the person you choose to be your employer, because culture shapes character. And when you choose an employer, whether it's yourself or you work for someone else, you are, in a sense, choosing a character. The second thing is, I hope you'll do the right thing when it's not in your self-interest, and even when you don't get an award or reward for doing it. I was taught, Carl, do the right thing, and it'll always come back to you. And I got to tell you, I don't know whether this universe is ultimately just or not, but I don't really believe that anymore. I see too many exceptions to it. Sometimes doing the right thing, you do it for the virtue of doing the right thing. So do the right thing. So let's move to 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock's about colleagues. And if you're talking about habits, this is collegiality and friendships. So when I think about colleagues, I have three things in mind: mentors, advisors, and peers. Dr. Kluner said GSO is a team. So I hope that you will stay in touch with your peers from this program and that you will support each other for the rest of your careers. I have not had many mentors in my life. I hope you've had a lot. But I'll tell you, every mentor I've ever had is somebody that I've gone after to mentor me. And I'm hoping that you're leaving this program with a mentor. And if you don't, go find a mentor. And chances are you'll have to find many of them throughout your careers. Now, I tell people I haven't had many mentors, but I have lots of advisors. And I am on the phone or on Zoom these days or on email like practically every day saying to someone who is wiser than I am, what do you think about so-and-so? So in addition to your CPA and your attorney and your financial planner, who are the other advisors in your network? That's 3 o'clock. Let's come down to 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock's continuous learning. Continuous learning. Now, I've already talked about how your technical knowledge will eventually plateau. So continuous learning as an orthodontist obviously is important. But I want you to look at it in a little different way now. You have spent, gosh, you've been in school for a long, long time. Even if you took a break before your residency, you've been in school for a long, long time. Maybe for some of you, this is the first time in 2 decades that you've had to read something for pleasure. So here's my suggestion to you. You're a specialist now. Make the trip back to a generalist. Not a generalist in terms of dentistry, but just expand your horizons about this life, about this world. Several years ago, well, actually, it's been a long time ago, 2010, I started Great Books of the Western World Club. We have read everything from Euclid to Einstein, from Herodotus to Hegel. And about every 6 weeks, we get together, and there are about 10 or 12 of us, and we discuss these very difficult books. And I have grown so much as a human being. I tell people it's one of the great delights of my life to be with these people and learn in this way. So when I say continuous learning, I mean become an interesting person. And if you're already an interesting person, become more interesting. And beyond that, become fascinating. And I find that fascinating people are exceptionally good listeners. All right, let's go over to 9 o'clock on the clock. 9 o'clock is about contribution. It's about giving back. So I'm going to tell you just a brief story from my childhood. I grew up in Southern Virginia, out in the country. well water, no fluoridation. So we didn't have fluoridated water, but we had lots of Pepsi-Cola. And back when I was a kid, Pepsi's slogan was something like, you've got a lot to live, Pepsi's got a lot to give. So what Pepsi gave me was a lot of carious teeth. And so I grew up very familiar with my dentist. And I got to tell you, I didn't enjoy going to the dentist. Every time I went, there's a carie that had to be addressed. But in retrospect, that's not what I remember about my childhood dentist. What I remember about him is that he played ping pong with me. What I remember about him is seeing him as a deacon in the church. What I remember about him is he took care of my father. Never charged my father anything for dental care, not because my father couldn't afford it, but just because they were friends. I remember him coaching my softball team when I was a teenager, and I got to tell you, that was a thankless job. What I remember is his contribution. I remember him as an honorable man. So give back, contribute to your profession, to the community, to the organizations in which you belong. Give back. All right, so we sort of walked around the clock. Now I want you to think about the face of that clock. Because the face of that clock, if you want another C, you could say contemplation. I'm going to say reflection. We have lost the ability to reflect in our culture, maybe in the world. There is a wonderful book by a neuroscientist at UCSF, University of California, San Francisco, Adam Grassley. And the title of the book is Distracted Minds, Ancient Minds in a High-Tech World. And what he argues in this book is that the parts of our brains that we used to use for food foraging, we now use for information foraging. So what does that mean? Information is ubiquitous. If I'm hungry, it's always there. I have an iPhone in my pocket, right here in my pocket. Any question you ask me, I can get an answer to it in like 30 seconds. Information is ubiquitous. So we've lost the art of reflection, and what I'm suggesting to you is find time to reflect. Turn off the technology. Turn off when you're driving, when you're taking your shower. This morning I had to tell Alexa to turn off. Okay? Just give your mind some space. And ideally find some time where you can just set aside and reflect. For me, that's 5:30 in the morning, 5:30 to 6:30. After that, everything's off, off to the races. And I'll tell you one other just little practical tip. If you don't journal as a part of your reflection, start keeping a journal. I started journaling when I was 20 years old. And now I'm going back and I'm reading, what happened in my 20s that I couldn't remember anymore. And I'm sort of rediscovering myself. It's a wonderful way to reflect. All right, so behind that face, you got all kinds of wheels and gears that turn those arms of the clock. So I want you to think about those gears, those wheels, as your character. Your character. So what is character? There are lots of ways we could define character, but I want you to think about character as those habits that define and distinguish you as a person. Good habits, those habits that lead to health, to happiness, to meaningful lives, are called virtues. Bad habits are called vices. We all know people that have been undone by bad habits. So I'm going to leave you just with these 5 habits that I suggest to you as you think about how to use your time wisely. Those habits: challenge yourself, colleagues, collegiality, build that network. Thirdly, continuous learning, and then fourthly, contribution, and then lastly, reflection. Character, that's what makes us tick. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Hayden. You know, all the accomplishments that I mentioned before are not done without the help, support, and expertise and leadership that our program director, Dr. Ricky Harrell, brings to the program. Having experience in private practice, orthodontic education, and a military veteran, he's been a perfect match since he's joined us. I'm very pleased to introduce to you Dr. Ricky Harrell, the program director for the Georgia School of Orthodontics. Dr. Harrell.
We're 6 feet away. So I'm going to start by thanking all of you, parents, loved ones, spouses, children, for attending this event. It's a very important day in these young people's lives. Very, very important. And they know me a lot better than you guys do. So what I would tell you is my role in the program is not only to deliver curriculum and make sure we meet CODA requirements, et cetera, but also kind of to serve as that father figure. And they do call me dad. I've heard them. And just like a parent, you know, today's the day they're going to leave home. And there's a part of you that wants to put a size 10 in the backside, but there's another side of your brain that's shedding a tear simultaneously. So it's a difficult and emotional day, and it impacts me every year. So, to you guys, first of all, rules for the classroom. Chad, I want you to watch and see if somebody has an errant drive, because I can't see out the back of my head. I'm going down. And then Dr. Cruz, if you see him fall asleep, you assume the position. And I won't be as long-winded as I normally am. So for the class members of the graduating class of 2023, your big day has finally arrived. Some 3 years ago, you showed up at the doorsteps of GSO. Most of you knowing hardly anything about orthodontics other than how to spell it, and the 3 trips you made through the orthodontic clinic at your respective institutions as an undergraduate. Now, that's not true for all of you, I got that, but by and large, most are newbies to orthodontics. You probably had some trepidation, some anxiety, some type of uneasiness about the world of residency that you were about to enter. So let's fast forward those 3 years. The light at the end of the tunnel grew brighter and brighter, and it turned out it wasn't an oncoming freight train. It's a big world that's going to await you and your impact on your fellow citizens and the communities in which you serve, the schools in your area, but most importantly, the individuals that you're going to positively impact with your provision of services. You have an opportunity, unlike many others, as Carl pointed out, to not only do well in your professional and personal lives, but to make a difference in the lives of many, many, many others. And your hair starts to get gray, and you look back and you've treated 10, 15,000 patients over the course of your lifetime, and it just seems to go by in a flash. So this in and of itself is almost a sacred privilege, and now you have a duty to exercise your ability to positively impact those who seek your services. Now, we had a particularly poignant lecture the last time I talked to this group as a whole. And as you guys may have discovered this week, there are many out there in the public realm who will try and do what you've been taught to do. But unfortunately, they lack your knowledge and your training and your ability to troubleshoot. And we saw the results of that. And it shows that these people don't have your skill set. My charge to you is to practice like your most difficult instructor is looking over your shoulder. Do work that would satisfy him or her. Because now there's nobody sitting on this shoulder saying, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, do this. But most importantly is this concept. I want you to treat each and every one of your patients as though they were a parent, your child, a loved one. If you follow this adage, everything else is going to fall into place for you. And I truly believe that good things come to people who do good things for others. I wish you all the very best, Godspeed, and enjoy your journey. Thank you.
skip this part.
I'd like to get some more stuff to hang on the wall. You can never have too many wall hangings, right? Okay. Well, here it is, guys. Let's get your certificates. And the certificate is the piece of paper that enables these guys to go out and practice and advertise as orthodontic specialists. And to start it off, I will call up Dr. Chadwick Lane Auguste. It's a big step. All right. Dr. Imelda Cruz. Our next recipient is not here this morning. She's taking a licensing exam. Dr. Elena Dumas. She was a scholarship recipient for both 2019, 2020, and 2021. So a round of applause for Dr. Dumas. I didn't realize you had this many names. Ms. Clora, Dr. Clora Jamie O'Reilly Evans. Clora, Dr. Evans has been a teaching assistant. She's a recipient of the Nat Glover Leadership and Professionalism Scholarship in 2020. Dr. Monica Gabor. Dr. Gabor is a scholarship recipient, Dr. Melvin S. Polk Professional Integrity and Academic Achievement Scholarship for 2019, a teaching assistant, and again, the Nate Glover Leadership and Professionalism Scholarship. David Matthew Graham, come on up here. I've really had to keep an eye on this guy because I went to dental school with his father, who's sitting over there. So Dr. Michael Graham is really going to hold my feet to the fire on this product. Our next recipient's not able to be here, but I would like to call his father up to receive his certificate. So the student is Vincent Mark Graves. We've trained him so well, he woke up and he was not feeling well today, so he self-excused himself, which is a real sacrifice not to be able to come get your diploma. But Mr. Graves is going to accept it for... Mr. Graves happens to be our oldest recipient of an ortho certificate. Next, Dr. Gabriela Herrera. Dr. Herrera will be remaining as a faculty member at GSO, and we look forward to working with her in the coming years. Next, Dr. Sangeeta Murali. Next is Dr. Carla Fabiola Nunez. Next is Dr. Robert Stephen Powell. We affectionately know him as Robbie. All the names through. This will take a minute or so to get through. Our next recipient is Dr. Sheldon Rosman. Sheldon is our chief resident. He was awarded the Melvin S. Polk Professional Integrity and Academic Achievement Scholarship. In 2021, he was a scholarship recipient of the same. In 2020, he is a teaching assistant and received the Dr. Nat Glover Leadership and Professionalism Scholarship in 2019. Sheldon? Next recipient, Dr. Scott Shames. Our next recipient is Dr. Sago Segastola-Slami. She is a teaching assistant and recipient of the Nate Glover Leadership and Professionalism Scholarship of 2020. Our next recipient is Dr. Jennifer Danielle Shulsky. And last but not least, Dr. Shadi Tagazeda. I think that's got everybody. I just want the parents to know, just like you, I butted heads with every one of these, but at the end of the day, we can look at the bigger picture and be friends and go forward. And I look forward in 6 months from now when you guys get a case that you can't figure out, you'll send it to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Earl. This now brings our third graduation ceremony for the Georgia School of Orthodontics to a close. Coming together is a beginning, staying together is progress, and working together is success. These are not my words, but those of Henry Ford, someone who knew a little something about starting an idea from scratch and the adversity he faced from the naysayers who said it couldn't be done. Congratulations to all of our residents. I would like to take this opportunity to thank board trustee members Chris Lazara, Jessica Wynn, and Chris Wynn, and Miss Dina Risher and her team for arranging this great event under extraordinary circumstances, and to Dr. Pickron for providing the opportunity to be here today. I also want to recognize all of our faculty and staff, both in Atlanta and Jacksonville, that have been so very dedicated to GSO and the roles that they've played for these new orthodontists. Congratulations to everybody. Please stay masked, social distance, and try to leave the premises as soon as you can. We'd like to have you congregate, but I think under the circumstances, it's probably not a very good idea. And we wish everyone the very, very best. Please help yourself to a box lunch on the way out, and the residents have Dr. Hayden's book that you can grab on the way out. Congratulations, everybody.